All right, looks like we're live. So based on Ryan's heading, it looks like we're on episode 38 of our Hangout. So welcome everybody. We're Joey free, so the marketing and the professionalism of tonight's Hangout will be a little bit lower than we're used to. But welcome everybody. Hope you guys join live. I forget how he plugs everything. Scan the QR code, hit up the chat. I apologize if my audio's off. I'm on my phone because my computer's not working. We've got Ryan here on a different laptop, so we got a different look at his beautiful face.
Yep.
Non-glasses, Ryan, Tim, Adam, appreciate you guys being with us. So tonight we are going to do something a little bit different. Might be a little bit of a free form. We've got a smorgasbord of topics. So a couple of us have missed a few Hangouts recently. We've had a few different experiences in the hobby, so I thought we'd just sort of throw it back, look in the reflection pool, and bring up a few old topics. For myself personally, just to sort of set the table, I'm going to talk a little bit about buying and selling and some things I've got going on in the hobby, as well as I think both Glasses, Ryan, you and I are excited to share our thoughts in the one-on-one conversation. I thought Adam and Joey did a great job on that, but I definitely wanted to bring that back around. And then Tim, other Ryan, Adam, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys want to revisit and reflect on. So before we get into that, though, let's go around the room. Does anybody have any updates, engagement, hobby stuff we've been up to? And I'm not going to pass the buck. I'll just let you guys jump in if you've got any updates to share with the crew.
I love that you said pass the buck because I'm so tired of hearing about this Giannis stuff. So as soon as this basketball stuff, man, I love it and it's great, but I've been hearing about Giannis getting away from the Bucks, so passing the buck. I totally dig that. I feel like the NBA has been doing that for years.
Good point.
Was there a development with Giannis this week?
No, and there won't be. It's all going to be he said, she said.
The never-ending
until after the playoffs, right? Like I'm sure there's real stuff going on, but you know, nothing can be formalized till after the playoffs, anyways, and no team's going to leak it to that level. So. No, it's gonna be a lot of media hearsay until then.
Well, I do have a pickup that we'll see if this 10-year-old laptop will actually show you guys. This is a Christian Braun.
Nice.
This is the championship year, so it's trying to go after the gold, you know.
Great time to buy them.
If you can see it, it's absolutely horrid centering.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's really bad.
It's weighted left to right pretty aggressively, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the grade?
But it is a 8, which I'm actually surprised it got an 8. That should be more like a 6 or 7, just given that terrible centering. But anyway, that's championship year, so I did decide to go after a gold set, which Prism's crazy, so I chose Optic. And now I just need Peyton Watson to finish it off. I don't know if this will show up. This probably won't. But this is the binder, so still got to crack it out and get it in there. But
love it.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Is this 24-25?
Sorry, say one more time.
That's 24-25?
That is 22-23.
Yeah.
Because we won that championship.
Won the championship. So Christian Braun won with the Jayhawks won the NCAA tournament. Then he went right to the Nuggets and won the NBA championship.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's super cool.
And, you know, he didn't play that well in the playoffs. So I feel like at the time I bought it was like right after they were out. I was like, oh, this is the perfect time. I wish a better center copy came out, but I'm not going to complain. It was like $70 shift. So I'm cool with that.
The Celtics fan in me is jealous because there's no way I could do that for the 2024 championship team. Like if Adam and I wanted to do that, like the Peyton Pritchards of the world alone would be probably $200 or something. Like Celtics fans are insane. So that's super cool. Nice pickup.
Yeah. So Peyton Watson, hopefully, his stuff will drop too, and then I'll see one show up. This stuff's like hundreds of dollars for the rookies, right? When they first come out. That's the only thing I wait on because I'm like 2-3 years down the road, that's not going to be a $400-$500 card guaranteed. So, that's my strategy.
I was thinking about Brown and how he had a decent rookie year, but he was kind of really carried by that amazing roster the Nuggets had that one year. And I was trying to think who's the rookie this year? Isn't necessarily a top 5 rookie, but they're kind of, they have a nice role on one of these top.
What's the guy's name?
Shannon's second year. I mean, I don't want to say Harper because we know who he is, but I'm talking about like someone who's not a top 5 pick.
Are you talking about on the Nuggets?
In general, like on one of these teams, like or maybe that's just more of a unique story where Brown was in the right place at the right time and
Bruce Brown
looks
or Christian Brown. You're talking about Christian. Yeah, I don't even know what he was drafted, but he was fairly high, I want to say. But he ended up being a pretty decent player, even though, even Nuggets fans are giving him crap after we got knocked out in the first round. But, I thought he did okay. The whole team was kind of just sucked, so it wasn't like on him,
How about you, Adam? I think part of this flashback to previous topics we've talked about, our non-basketball card collection. So do you want to share your big pickup, or have you had any other cool meal days?
Yeah, I can grab it. Where'd I put it? I'm assuming you're talking about the one we talked about before. But
Yep.
Superfractor, Darkwing Duck, obviously very much not basketball related. As I think I've talked about on here, I've been buying a lot of Disney stuff. My wife's obsessed with that kind of stuff. And she piqued her interest in some cards, so I bought quite a few. And I'll be honest, that's probably the first one that's truly she has no care in the world about. It's not really her character of choice, but I loved that as a kid. So that's like the debut or rookie, if you will, of Darkwing Duck modern cards. So that was the first time that he's been in any of them, and that's the Superfractor, obviously. And I like too that this set Neon is from obviously Topps, but they made them in Italy again. The first couple years of Chrome were made in Italy for Disney, and that was because they didn't have the rights to sell them in the United States. So everything was distributed through Europe. And essentially 2025 was the first North American production. I think they were made in Texas, and everybody hated them. The quality was terrible, and they pivoted back to Italy on those. So like the stock on those is 55 point. They're really like sturdy, high quality cards. So I was really excited to see that pop up, and I had to go back and forth with the guy for like 2 or 3 weeks because he was at an astronomical number when he first got it because he knew it was his only Superfractor and how unique it was. But eventually the persistence won out, and I was able to snag it.
Story, and I have to say, and I'm not even like joking when I say this, one of the most genius things I've heard in the hobby recently is how you've roped your wife into approving of all of this and getting her engaged, which then opens up the door for a whole new round of collecting for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said there for sure. I mean,
for sure,
I think I've spent more than enough to earn the right to a Darkwing, but no, you're not wrong.
And Tim and Ryan, anything that you want to share for hobby updates?
I don't have any hobby updates. Yeah, go ahead.
I am loving my Cosmic Chrome. Loving it. I think it's unique. I love this planet in the background. This is Aqua Equinox color. Here's a Nas blue. Just really think it's unique compared to all this Topps Chrome and Finest, which I thought was just a more boring design.
Is that a Memphis Sounds jersey?
What's that?
Is that a Memphis Sounds jersey on Desmond Bain there?
Yes. I'd love to have it in Orlando. I'm waiting. But I mean, if we look back at Panini, it took a long time too to get these guys in the uniforms. It's just, I don't know how hard it is to do this. You think it'd be easier, but for now, I'll take it. In 5 years, I'm not going to remember when that card is released anyway. So
I think you're going to corner the market on those, man.
Yeah, I'm glad. I have nothing nice to say, but I truly appreciate that a collector is enjoying a set. I honestly mean that, but it's not for me. But I appreciate that people are enjoying it.
It's not for everybody. No set is for everybody. But I just try to look beyond just the fanatics, hate, and just kind of let's see this set for what it is. And not everyone needs to agree with me, but I think that's how I've always done it with Topps and then Panini. And I go set by set, and I like some sets and I don't like some other sets. But I just think Fanatics has more to offer than Zero. So that's definitely big.
Curiosity question, Tim, and I found this trend to be happening at the end of Panini's, but more so with Fanatics, as they've even upped the price, up above and beyond what Panini was doing for some of their cards. Are you seeing a lot of this stuff hit the market, especially from the hobby-based product? Are you? I know from. I think my kids just snuck downstairs. Sorry for the delay. Whoa, hey. Oh, hey, everybody. So my son Jordan, say hi. Jay, say hi. He just lost his front tooth, so he came down and told me.
Oh, nice.
So,
Oh wow,
you're now on YouTube about that. I'll show
nice
you later,
pull.
right? Have a good night, buddy. So, yeah, there's a pull, right? Nice pull. Damn it, the tooth fairy has to come tonight. Are you seeing any of this hobby-based product actually like hit eBay for singles and stuff? Because that's one of the issues I'm having with the WNBA stuff is I don't think the hobby product's getting ripped. So for collectors that want singles, it's kind of tough to
You're
find.
talking about like the
stuff.
high end case hits,
For,
and
like
stuff
let's say Topps Cosmic, right? I assume that's a hobby-only product. Are you seeing singles hit eBay? Do you think the stuff's getting ripped at a high rate, or is it a lot
I'm
of it's
seeing
being unripped?
Cosmic. I'm seeing a lot of it on there.
Okay.
There's definitely some variations that I want that I haven't seen yet of certain players. Like I'm not going to buy them until I see it in a certain color. So I mean, it's only been not that long. I don't know, weeks or something like that. So I'm sure we'll start to see more.
Yeah.
And then there's hoops, which I'm super excited about. With the bounce house in particular, I like that it's insert a lot.
What about
and,
Bowman? Are you looking forward to Bowman?
I definitely I got some Bowman. It came out before. There's two Bowmans: Bowman University Chrome, and then there's Bowman Best, which I think comes out tomorrow. Bowman Best.
That's the one that
I
has
think
the
Bowman
college
Best looks
product
better,
in it, too?
but
Is that the one that has the college product in it too?
yes. I think the base was okay looking, but I'm more in it for the college guys in that set. I'm not like totally in love with the NBA stuff that they have in there. But yeah, I do the Bowman more for the college guys than the NBA guys that they include personally.
Do we have an example of what bounce house is? I'm intrigued.
He's
I don't
making
have
fun of his
control
own.
over the images here, but what?
Are you making fun of your own screenshot?
Huh?
What?
So Tim posted a screenshot of some stuff that he was looking at. There were bounce houses in the background.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you got a kick out of that. Yeah. So I was waiting for them to show up, and they came out today. Some people were ripping them during the week, and I kept searching bounce house hoops, and it was all like jumping castles and like basketball jumping castle, like inflatable hoops and stuff like that. And then I finally saw some this morning. I'm like, oh, there they are. I don't know if anyone has the ability to pull it up here. Don't worry about it if not. But I just think they have a really cool kind of candy-like 90s look to them. And I wish I could show you one here. Maybe in the next week or two, I'll have one in hand to show people. But
I think we're actually talking behind the scenes about doing a whole hangout just on breaking down the Hoops release, just because Hoops is the only license that travels with the NBA. The NBA actually owns the Hoops license, so there'll be a week where we get to kind of really break it down, both the history of it, but the modern release. And one thing that you brought up, Tim, that just makes me realize we're in a different era is when you said that Cosmic's only been out for a few weeks, and you're still waiting to see some of the variations, parallels, inserts you're waiting for. Whereas a decade ago, it was all about hitting the market within 3 to 4 days because the stuff got ripped so fast and it all hit eBay in like a wave.
Right.
And if you didn't get it right away, then you might be waiting because they were going to be instantly behind it. 2 or 3 weeks later was going to be another release that you had to hit right off. But stuff was just getting ripped a lot quicker, right? And so I think that's what I was bringing up is that stuff is getting ripped slower. I think part of it is price. I don't want to talk about Hoops too much, but Hoops, the last year Panini Hoops was $150 a hobby box. MSRP on Fanatics Hoops is going to be $400 a hobby box, right? So stuff's a lot more expensive, but also there's just a different wave to things where individuals aren't ripping. Adam, Ryan, and I are not ripping wax anymore. Breakers,
I don't rip it either.
Right? So breakers are ripping wax. And then the breakers are going to send the cards out to the people that bought the spots. And then those people are going to decide if they want to sell it or not. Then they have to list it, right? So there's just a different tempo to buying singles these days that I think is really interesting. And part of it is I'm trying to figure out, is product being ripped at the same rate? And if so, how do I find the singles I want? or is this stuff too expensive that the hobby's just not ripping it? And then how do I find the products that are going to be ripped so I can find the singles? And I think it's just it's going to be a learning curve for a year or two, to be honest with you. I just think we have to figure out how stuff's going to be hitting the market as far as singles. So that's all I was asking when I brought up like Cosmic Chrome and what you're seeing from someone that's a little bit more engaged than some of us are.
I think
I think with more like refractor types, it takes a while to see the certain colors that you want.
Yeah.
A couple weeks longer maybe. So I'm waiting on some players, but there's some stuff I can pick on, and what I like is maybe if it's not that popular with some other people, like I'm finding some nice looking cards in between $30 and $50 that I think are nice refractors of some of these players. So I'm enjoying it.
There's also time in between people exchanging. Nowadays, those boxes wind up on secondary and tertiary markets before they ever get ripped. So to your point, it is taking them longer to get into the hands of people that will rip them.
Oh, can I say this? I mean, this has probably been a case for a long time, but maybe more so with rippers and breakers. But I'm looking for a lot of these cards, and a lot of these bounce house cards or other high-end inserts. The nicer ones, like 90% of them, maybe 75%, go right to auction. So like someone like me, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to win that. So, I have to wait for a couple weeks before people start putting them up as buy now. And I
got you on Bounce House here. I was able to find it.
There you go.
And yeah, it does has the actual bounce houses showing up in your search results.
I was sifting through way more of them this morning, but then as the day went on, like, all right, less bounce houses and more cars.
It's going to be more cars soon. Yeah. I was going to say like the fact that you're going after the Cosmic Chrome and maybe not everybody's adopting it. That's cool because you like them, you're collecting them. So it's good to be able to pick those up probably a little bit easier than some of the more sought after stuff. I haven't really been following it, to be honest. So I don't know if Chrome Golds are really popular now, if those are going for a lot of money. I'm like so out of the loop. So, I would imagine that probably a lot of people going after Chrome because there's just so much Chrome now. Like everything seems to be Chrome.
Yeah, there's so much Chrome.
Might be able to get a better deal.
Even if it's ugly, there's always going to be high-end people buying the high-end versions of all this. But I think Finest, as we talked about, I just thought it was so busy and ugly. There's too many colors, and if it was outer space, it would make more sense to me. But it's just too many colors going on, and it was a random design. But I will say, a lot of people, including myself, are really going after some of the on-card autographs that seem, between like 75 and 200. Really nice on-card autographs. Like my favorite one, I think, is like the photo issue autographs. Like I had a Fleming one I may have posted a couple days ago. I just think it looked super clean. And to see some on-card autographs, he's not a superstar. I'm investing in him. But for $75, I just thought it was a really clean looking card, and I got the color match of that. So I think if anyone is going to take a look at anything with Top Finest, ignore the base, and there's one or two autograph sets with on cards that I think are really nice looking.
Cool.
And they kind of remind me of the early 2000s. Those two autograph sets, I'll have to get the names of them, but they just reminded me of early 2000s autographs.
Appreciate it, Tim. Thank you. Other Ryan, any pickups that you want to share or hobby updates before we jump into a few of our smorgasbord discussion points?
Unfortunately, I've been so good at not buying anything over the last 7 years. I know. I'm so proud of myself. But no, I've unfortunately have no pickups to share. I've got nothing over the last 5 days, 6 days.
Cool. All right. The only updates that I want to share, and not to be Debbie Downer, is I do want to recognize, we're Hoops Hobby Hangout, that I think two pretty influential members of the NBA community passed away in the last few days. So I just want to recognize Brandon Clark, passed away, and Jason Collins. And Jason played for the Celtics. He was the ultimate professional. We had him at the end of his career in 2012, but the first openly gay athlete, I think, is nothing to ignore either. You're right. Like, I think it's important to recognize that people are being their authentic selves. And then Brandon Clark, it sounds like, unfortunately, was probably substance related. And as someone that has lost many friends and family to substance abuse, that one hit home. So I just want to recognize that, not to be Debbie Downer, but recognize that, people are humans and that these people who collect. So I just wanted to give them a quick shout out and not ignore them as we talk about, basketball cards. I think we just lost Real Ryan. So hopefully this stream keeps going.
Awesome. Good thing we have a spare.
No, but unfortunately, Tim, so Adam and I were talking behind the scenes, so Ryan and Joey have the logins for everything. So if we lose them, we're in trouble. So there are tech gurus. So hopefully everything goes well. And now we have Ryan's drum kit in the background, so I think we're good. So let's jump into our smorgasbord. I think both Ryan and I probably were both very interested in the one-on-one collecting commentary. So maybe, Adam, I thought you and Joey did a great job with that and really talking about it. So I'm going to pass the buck to you. I don't know why I say pass the buck. It's not even the right term, but I'm going to pass the baton is what I'm trying to say to you, Ryan. You had mentioned the one-on-one discussion that happened when both you and I were out for a week. So I don't know if you want to take the lead a little bit on what your thoughts were on that commentary that Adam et al. Had, or if you wanted to just share a little feedback on your thoughts.
Well, I got one to share. Hopefully I'm sleep cleaner.
You're showing a card, but we can't hear a word you're saying.
Oh, you're not hearing me?
All right. So so I'm going to pad for you, buddy. So basically, what I was thinking as I was listening to what you were saying, Adam and Joey, was really like my perspective as a player collector. And you said this, Adam. You said that you don't go above and beyond for one-on-one. So the card has to be above the stamp. It has to be special. Was kind of, I think, a summary of part of what you were saying. And for me as a player collector, what I see a lot of most people that know me know I have this really odd obsession with collecting Jay Crowder cards. Right? He's a role player. He is what he is. And people will send me like one-on-one prisms, hoops, whatever, and they'll say, "Oh man, you must need to go get this." And my response is more often than not, "No, I don't." Right? So for me, actually, the one-on-ones is probably like fourth or fifth on the totem pole of cards I want to chase, because I'll look at a one-on-one that might cost $100, and I realize that for me, who's master collecting a player set, that I can get 5, 10, 20 cards for that same $100 that click the same box on the checklist, right? So an out of 299, an out of 5, and out of 10, it still gets me that much closer to the 100% completion rate as a one-on-one. So there's a really interesting dichotomy that I have on social media with people constantly sending me one-on-one Jay Crowder's hoops, prism that I really appreciate, but they're always a little floored when I'm not as excited as I might be about an unnumbered parallel that I've never seen. I thought the way you guys were talking about needing a one-on-one to be above and beyond special, that really resonated with me. The other thing that resonated with me as a relic collector or an autograph collector is it better be special, right? If I can get a good patch and on an out of 25 card or an on-card auto of an out of 25 card, I don't need the one-on-one. I have no interest in it. I'd rather pay a fifth of the price, a tenth of the price for the one that looks just as good. That one-on-one stamp does nothing for me. So it better be a tag relic, or if it was a Bill Russell card, he has very little actual stitched patches. If all of the, let's say out of 100s were just a swatch, but there was a one-on-one with a little bit of yellow and white on it, then I would pay up for that one-on-one. But the one-on-ones really have to be something above and beyond. I don't put a lot of stake in the fact that it's just a one-on-one, because especially in today's market, like Tim could have basketball cards made of them. There might be 20 one-on-one Tim cards, right? The way the manufacturers are going, the one-on-ones have also been watered down. So I don't know. That was just something I wanted to bring up and share, that I really appreciate that part of the conversation. And did I pad for you long enough, Ryan? Are you back online?
How about now? Hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Nope.
Yeah, Steve, you still can't hear me?
We can all hear him except you, Steve.
Oh, I can't hear him? All right.
Yeah, well, you don't need
I'll
to
be
hear
quiet
him.
then.
It's not
Ryan
important.
share.
Yeah, maybe when your audio catches up, you can hear my thoughts on it. But yeah, I was going to share this one. Actually, I got in recently. It's a Gallinari 2014 Select Black.
Very nice.
That
It's like a
one has
shield, too.
been Yeah, they're to your point, Steve, if you can hear this, I think that one's like unique enough that I went after it kind of hard. I mean, I didn't pay a lot of money for it. It was like flipped a couple times, and then it eventually showed up sold by PSA. So that's who I won it from. But yeah, I wasn't going to pay like a ton of money for that. And every time I threw in like a snipe bid, it would get blown out of the water. You see it relisted with some other seller the next week and all that kind of fun stuff. I agree that it does kind of have to be special for me to really want it. And I did finish about 3/4 of that chat that you had with Joey Adams. So I didn't get through the whole thing yet. I just kept getting like hit up for stuff with work and whatever. And I was starting it and stopping it. But I think when you guys, that really resonated with me as well as what Steve talked about, is it really does have to be something unique. Like nowadays, it just seems like every parallel has a 101. So what makes that special? You know, why would I want to go after 101 of choice or 101 of, I don't know, some other random parallel when there's like 10 different variations of it? And we can all say, oh, well, the best is the gold vinyl or the best is the black, you know, and you can make that distinction for yourself. And that's cool if that's what you want to do. But I think a lot of people chase them specifically because it says 101 on the card. That's the only reason, because they know they can flip it to somebody else. Just like this Gallinari. I mean, a lot of people aren't buying Gallinari. And so I can usually wait it out and see that same card come up again and again. I've done it many times. And eventually, you know, it'll get flipped to the person that probably is holding the bag on it and they lose a couple $100. I mean, that's generally how it goes. But people are just picking it up just because they see the 101 tag. That's kind of what I got from your all's discussion, Adam. Like that was really like the point that resonated with me, as if it was going to be something that I was going to put money into. I'd want it to be something special, because this year, and you know, Panini's done it for many years. It's not like it's anything new, but these are the only 101s you got of this. You know, this is like the court side or something. I think they had 2 different cards maybe that season, but that's your 101. There's not 10 of them, you know? So that's, if I can get a 101 of Disco Sparkle, something like that for $20, and I'll do it. But otherwise I'm not paying up on that kind of stuff, you know? So anyway, I'll let you talk a little bit, Adam, because I know that was a good topic that I really did enjoy that week. And
yeah, I mean, to kind of piggyback off the responses to it, Steve, like forever, people who collected players specifically almost always have kept a running tally of non-1-of-1 cards to go towards their chase, because then they're never going to get all of the 1-of-1s. So to your point, the idea of having 20% of the 1-of-1s or 100% of all the non-1-of-1s, any player collector would take the 100% of all non-1-of-1s, just because that's such a daunting task. And that's what the real chase is. Nobody's actually trying to obtain every single 1-of-1. Maybe they're trying, but nobody's actually going to succeed of a player that has more than a couple cards. So I do think that's a good point from the angle of being a player collector, that the 1-of-1 is even less valuable because of how many options you have. And with Jay having such a large career, and surprisingly having cards for so long in the career, there's more than enough options for you to pick from, where you can get really cool cards that are gold or whatever else for pennies on the dollar. And same to your points, Ryan. I mean, there's definitely cool 1-of-1s, but by no means does a 1-of-1 have to be cool just because of the stamp. And that's kind of what we talked about, obviously. But it kills me is like there's groups on Facebook dedicated to just 1-of-1s, and you see people on there making posts looking to buy 1-of-1, or I have $250 to spend. What do you have? And it's like, you don't even care what the sport is, team is, player is, set, variation, anything. Just if it's a 1-of-1, I'm interested. If you have it within my budget, it's a wild way to collect, in my opinion. And that's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts, is people just, it's a 1-of-1 and it's in my price range. I don't know who Jay Crowder is, but it's $200. I'm in. It's like, what a weird way to go through life. I don't know. It's just not for me.
Those are the same people that are buying lottery tickets. Lots of lottery tickets.
I think that's 90% of the new people in the hobby as a whole, not just the 1-of-1 people, unfortunately. But yeah,
thinking they want to make money.
A buyer for these 1-of-1s, as we've touched on, like that's kind of a ever growing pool of people who are just willing to buy stuff that is seen as rare, even if it's artificial. So yeah, it's
because that got flipped literally like 3 or 4 times before I ended up with it.
And
And it
what
was people probably buying it to be able to, flip it because it said 101 on it. That's probably the only reason.
Yeah, I was
I
saying,
doubt anyone
Gallinari first.
even knew who he was.
Who's searching Gallinari to flip? I mean, that's never the goal.
No.
It's just somebody thought because it was select and shiny and chromium and one of one that somebody had to have been willing to pay $1,000 for it. I mean, just a crazy mentality.
When I think of where grading came from, it came from the concept of trying to create rarity where rarity didn't exist. So yeah, fabricating rarity. I think that's a great point. And I will just jump in there since I have the floor. Mine is also a Danino Gallinari. It's a 1 of 1 from SP Authentic. Bought it years and years and years ago. And I did buy it specifically because it was a 1 of 1 label. And then this is a printing plate, and I just absolutely love it. Never had the opportunity to have a Dolph Schayes autograph, and I was really looking for Elgin Baylor. So the opportunity to come across that, and then the seller was super gracious on eBay. There was one listed. It was buy it now for like $900, and he worked with me so much to bring that card down to a point where it was reasonable for me to grovel to my family to buy it. So but those are 2 pieces of 101 that I just love the idea of 08, 09, those city letters. I just see so much value in getting those printing plates, getting those autographs, especially of those legendary players, kind of mixing the 2 up. But having the Dolph Schayes and the Elgin Baylor dual autograph is just really sets it off for me.
You make a great point, Ryan, about the grading process, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole right now. We will someday, but I completely agree where, like, Ryan's holding up that other Ryan, Glasses Ryan, is holding up that Gallo 101 that's in a slab, and I don't think 101s were ever meant to be graded, right? Because it is about, like, differentiating cards of the same level from each other, and I've told other Ryan that he should bust that out of slab, and I'm kind of disappointed that's still in that slab. Ryan, what's it doing in there? Come on, it's time to out, but
it's hard to get those. You said binder, and that's probably where it'll end up. But these like die cut ones, because it's die cut. It's so difficult to like store them. Like they do not work in a mag. So
I know, especially that one where there's a flat I'm gonna sound like Kid and Play. There's a flat top, but there's not a flat bottom to it, so there isn't anything to grab both ends of a sleeve. So you're right, but 101s are never meant to be graded at all.
Agreed.
Anything else about the 101 topic before we move on to it's just something else? I'm an educator, so I'll give you guys 15 seconds of awkward silence before I transition. All right, Adam.
For the podcast.
Yeah, you can edit that out. Adam, Ryan, any other topics? So the one that I kind of I'm personally going to end with is buying and selling, but I didn't know if we personally didn't talk about this off air. So I don't know if you guys had other, reflecting topics that you wanted to bring up before we go into the buying and selling aspect of things.
No, that sounds good. We can just move to that.
Cool. All right, so I just wanted to. So I purposely didn't share any cards at the beginning. I've had a couple of mail days recently, and I just wanted to. Very early on in this whole process, we did a couple of conversations about buying and selling, and Joey, Adam, maybe put me on the spot at one point, appropriately so, about the whole card hobby process. So I just wanted to update people on where card hobby's at, and talk about how I'm using it. So. Unfortunately for me, unbeknownst to me, they have Card Hobby has significantly upped their international shipping rates, which so I see Adam's eyebrows just went above his glasses. So just so people know, like he's shaking his head like, oh, interesting. So historically, Card Hobby has not given you the choice of which international shipper to use. So they have, depending on where they're at, I'm assuming contract-wise with different shippers, it's been either UPS or DHL. I've never had another shipper with them, but they've assigned that. So if you request a shipment from them, it just ends up being whoever they have a contract with. My most recent Card Hobby shipment was requested about 3 weeks ago, so say early May. I got to choose, so I had the choice over choosing either UPS or DHL. I chose DHL because they're just known as being the more consistent, reliable international shipment company. UPS I would have chosen for, US stuff. And the rates that I'm used to with Card Hobby always started at a base rate of $35 if you went above a certain weight. So if you had so many cards that it went beyond a certain weight for the package, it was $50. If you went beyond that weight, it was $75. I only had 10 cards. None of them were slabbed. It was $70 base rate to get cards shipped from China right now, which is honestly twice as much as I've ever paid for them. There were no tariffs, but there were $20 in additional fees. So for 10 cards, I paid $90 to get them shipped to the States. I personally have been very selective with Card Hobby recently. So the value, the $90 the shipping rate was worth it, because in the end, had I bought those same cards on eBay, I still made out at the end, right? So I got my favorite WNBA players, Veronica Burden. I got her True Gold Prism 2025 from Card Hobby. The only other copy I've seen sold for over 50% of what I paid for it on Card Hobby on eBay. So that alone saved me about $60. I got in this Asia Wilson Impeccable Auto out of 15. I paid less for this than any other copy on eBay by a significant amount. So what I paid for this plus the shipping fee kind of makes up for the shipping fee. I got this is a Jay Crowder 1516 Noir tag acetate out of 4. I already had 2 other copies of the 4, so it was really a 1 out of 2. I got that on there. So I've been very selective with Card Hobby recently. I had about 6 months worth of orders in there. But when I last reported on it, it was that $35 base rate plus, we don't know with the tariffs and a few taxes. But I just wanted to update people on that whole process. The other process of buying stuff that I wanted to touch on is ComC, which I've been a huge fan of. I've had nothing but headaches with them recently. They are way behind on their shipping. They've been very slow to respond to emails. Like, ComC is just a mess. So I know we've talked about ComC recently on this channel. Unfortunately, right now, ComC is really struggling. I feel like their inventory is low. I have not had many purchases recently, so I do have a ComC account. It's been my primary source of selling and buying cards. I haven't had a card bought from me, on a regular basis in a while. It used to be you'd wake up every morning, you'd have an email about cards that were bought from you. My last ComC shipment was so delayed that they sent me a $5 credit, which is ironic because the $5 credit could only be used towards a shipping rate. So they wanted me to request a more shipment, but they couldn't keep up with my first shipment. So they sent me $5 to ship more cards. So ComC is kind of a hot mess right now. So I just wanted to share a few updates on sort of buying cards, and some of the information I've shared in the past might be a little different than what kind of current experiences are. I don't know if
doesn't it seem like Steve, that overseas, like I got this Christian Brown that I was showing off. I got that one from China. It seems like they're including that in like the shipping cost.
I was going to
extra for it.
I was going to bring that up, Ryan. I don't want to
tariffs.
I don't have any info to say because in the States, we don't really know where the tariffs are at. Supposedly they're paused right now, right? And then there might be refunds coming. I did wonder, because the only 2 shipments I've had from Card Hobby while the tariffs have been going on were UPS, and they billed me separately once the cards were stateside. DHL, this is my first time using them. I do wonder if it's $35 plus what they assume the tariffs are, and they just billed me up front. So I do wonder if there's still confusion with international shipping in terms of the tariff. I will say I did get we were talking about 101s. I got a Crowder 101 Disco Fast Break, whatever, Prism card recently from Australia. And that shipment was, I paid like $10 to get it from Australia, and it showed up in less than a week. So I think individual sellers and that was an eBay sale. So I think eBay has probably clarified, and they're just letting individual like post offices internationally deal with what they do. But this DHL shipment was a little concerning for sure.
Yeah, see this one right here. I don't know if this is going to show up, but this was $9 to ship it, $9.99, and it showed up in a week. So I wanted for 50. And you probably can't see this. I wanted for 59, but then $9.99 to ship. And that's no. I didn't have to pay anything extra when it showed up. It was actually like a week is pretty good from China, and it showed up in a nice like one of those kind of express shipping packages. Inside was another like bubble mailer and stuff. So I don't do card hobby, so I'm not quite sure. Your experience might be a little bit different. That they charge you more because they're like putting the tariffs in there. But I feel like on eBay, it seems like they're just upping the price maybe a little bit to cover that tariffs plus shipping. Maybe not. Maybe they're losing money. Who knows?
I was just going to say, my last shipment from Card Hobby was UPS. I don't think they charged me anything, or if they did, it was built in, as you're saying. But I did buy something off Facebook from a person who lived in, I believe it was Manila, and they used DHL. And they delivered the package, and then like a week or two later, they sent a letter saying I owed import tariffs on it afterwards. They're still trying to get that, but if you already delivered it, it's too late.
That's the wild part about the. I mean, I know, like, we're not going to get into politics at all in this channel, but that's the wild part about the tariffs, Adam, is you are in the, I'd say, majority of people I've talked to in this hobby as far as that aspect of it, where companies are delivering stuff and then after the fact saying, by the way, you owe this tariff money. But it's like, I have my cards, I have my basketball, my sneakers, whatever it is. And then like that part of it. So that is why I wonder if like companies are starting to proactively. I actually respect the way UPS, when I've had a few card hobby mail days, have approached it, where it's like they send it, they bill me, and then they're pretty open, where they'll send like an email afterwards, be like, if there is a refund, we'll send it to you. Whereas I do wonder if this most recent one, DHL, was like, go pound sand, dude. We're just going to bill you in advance and just take the money regardless. So, because I do, the USPS and other companies have been doing the bill you later, and rightfully so. I don't think anybody's been like, yeah, here, let me walk up to your office. Here's a few extra 20s for you. Now that I already have my items. So I think that makes sense.
Here's a good comment from Dup. He's saying he bought 40 cards on ComC before they switched to $1 for every card added. And says, yeah, they're keeping those for me till they return to a bit of sanity. Agree. Yeah, I gotta actually, when I kind of heard that news about ComC, something happened with him. I think Kyle mentioned it on one of our group chats. I was like, okay, I'm getting my cards out. So I filed, got like, I don't know, it was like 20, 25 cards out. And I think I purchased like 2, just like really small cards. If something goes awry and they're gone, I wouldn't really care too much. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer, because that's like a great way to build like your lower end team sets. Like if you're going after like a prism or refractor set or something like that, that was always my go-to, because even if the guy had it for $2, you could usually talk them down to $1 or something, and put together stuff for cheap. And it's kind of fun just like wheeling and dealing within ComC, like add $80 in credit, go out and see how much like dollar cards I can get to fill up my holes in my binder and stuff like that. So it would be a bummer if that went away, or if something happened. So I hope they can get their shit together.
Yeah, I feel like ComC, if they did it right, could really build a community, because like, I'm thinking of Tim here, who is collecting lower end stuff for his, player PCs throughout his binder, or even Adam, who's got, he's clicked off for this Darkwing Duck card that we talked about. He's got the top ones. I'm not making fun of it. Like, it's like he's got the top ones. There should be a community where the out of 25s, out of 50s, out of 100s are able to be transacted and done so in a trustworthy way, in an economical way. And you can do so, and Tim can buy cards, Adam can post cards, Ryan can buy cards, Adam can then take the funds and buy the Darkwing Duck cards he wants, and do so in a way that is very economical. And that's what ComC used to be. And I feel like they're beyond their capacity right now, and I really hope they get back to being able to handle what they used to do, because it was a pretty valuable aspect to the hobby, especially where they post to eBay. So if I want to send a $50 card, maybe Ryan buys it, but maybe it goes to eBay and someone else there buys it, right? So I'm hopeful, but I'm skeptical.
That's totally what it feels like. It's like they just hit their limit to what they could do, and then they're like, okay, we gotta charge more, and then the turnaround times got slower, and I'm not one to scream like it's over and they're going out of business or anything. Well, I hope not, but it seemed like, yeah, they just probably hit a wall where they're like, we can't do this anymore. It's the same with, like, I remember PSA got to the point where we just got to raise prices to weed out some people from wanting to submit these $2 cards to get graded, because we just can't keep up with it. So it feels like ComC kind of maybe the same thing happened to them.
It also feels like a bit of an arms race, right? Where it feels like 21, 2022, 2023, there was a buildup, and PSA started buying a lot of these, little grading places, little stuff, right? And then, eBay is still growing, and they're doing their things now. Fanatics, now you got 3 legs of these, gigantic monsters, and ComC is just underneath it, and just getting crushed, taking on too much. And
yeah, no, I agree with that. It's probably the case, and hey, I don't blame them necessarily for wanting to get a little bit more in for stuff if that's what it was, but it seemed more like a capacity thing for sure. But I love ComC. I'd hate for it to go away, because it's one of those things where, again, it's like sometimes you can find really good deals on, like, I don't know, quote unquote higher end cards. I'm talking like $100 cards, not super high end, but mostly what's there is just cool $1, $5, $10 cards that eventually just end up there, because a lot of times people will buy all these cards and they're not selling at shows, they're not selling on eBay or whatever, and they'll dump them on ComC, and it's like, cool, I never see these, let me grab them. That's what's so fun about it.
Yeah, they do have a lot of cool stuff that not a lot of sellers are putting out there on eBay. It's just those shipping fees for ComC are like bigger than anyone's, I feel like. And then the wait time.
Yeah, no kidding. Yep. But yeah, hopefully they can work through it and get my couple, I don't know, I don't even know what I last bought on there, some 2019 Optic Silver or something. Hopefully I can get those someday.
Probably some 1897 presidential card or something.
No, I got all those. That was my last shipment. I got all those. So I was actually crossing my fingers. So I was like, it's funny because, not to go into a tangent, but some of that stuff that I was buying on there for $10, they're like now $100 cards. So I'm glad I picked them up like back then and actually got them. They didn't.
I'm so jealous. I love that set.
Yeah, those are fun. Yeah, and Tim, we were talking about that T68 set. The Heroes of History set. I was telling you like $5 to $15, and that's not even the case anymore. It's unfortunately, as happens with everything, they get pumped and graded. And I thought I had this cool Washington, right? And this guy's like, "Oh, can I buy that off you? Can I buy that off you? I'm like, you going for a set? Yeah, it's totally going to go in a set. No, I just bought it to grade it and flip it."
You just should have never shared it on your page and just sent me the pictures, Ryan. The prices wouldn't be where they are.
Yeah, well, I got a lot of doubles. So if you ever go after it someday, hit me up, and I'll get you 2019 prices on them.
All right.
I've been doing a lot of shopping at shows, and the flip recently from sports to TCG is pretty insane. I used to go to these shows and it was 70% sports, 30% TCG. It is not the case anymore. It is 70% TCG, 30% sports. And I'm going to 200, 250 table shows, and I know the vendors, and there's 2 shows going on in the same town at the same time, and the sports vendors are split between the shows, but they are just completely dwarfed by all these TCG vendors.
Oh, it's crazy, man. So there's a big card show out here called the Denver Card Show, right? They started with like 100 tables, went up to like 200, 250. Now they're doing 500 table shows. And I was talking to one of the guys that kind of like helped set it up. He's like, easily could be entirely filled by TCG. Easily. No sports there. So they have to like kind of limit it. And they've done a whole show with just TCG. but it could easily be every time they run that show. They do it about every month or two. Just TCG. That's all it could be, and it would probably do better than like including like sports tables. It's wild.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a good observation about the current hobby, Ryan. And my favorite sort of promoter in the New England area, and I'll give a little shout out, Flipping Card Show, is they do a really good job of differentiating the two. So they'll have like their Woburn show, which will be a traditional sports card show. Then they'll have TCG only nights. They'll have pop culture wrestling only nights, and then they'll have like the 50-50 days. So promoters are having to pivot for sure and adjust to that. But yeah, the TCG stuff is, and you know what, capitalism, follow the money. That's where, you know, there's more money in TCG right now than there is sports cards. But I've seen the same trend up here in New England.
Yeah, it just seems like it's just a wider audience. I mean, we've talked about this before. I think I specifically talked about it. You look up on YouTube channels about sports cards. They are nothing compared to even like a dude that started 2 months ago, a TCG channel. He just dwarfs like whatever following you've built for 5 years. You're nothing compared to the dude that just did it for TCG. It's wild. But hey, you know, that's, people who like to collect them. I'm not going to hate on it. I'll go find my, you know, the one guy at the card show that has weird stuff that hopefully is still there and buy from him. So it's no big deal. I just got to search him out a little bit more.
Yeah, I just feel like the younger generation that you see that is collecting sports cards, they have, you know, the slabs, the cool like bulletproof black case that they're bringing around, and it's just, it's so rare I see a kid who's like carrying a binder or just like is collecting a certain thing and he's just into it. There's so much about flipping and trying to be an influencer and how much money you made at the show and all of that. It's just Pokemon. There's a lot more money in Pokemon, but I also see kids who actually just like collecting. You know what I mean? Like for the photos, and they'll keep a binder. I still see them around. My wife's a teacher. That's all they talk about, the kids. And, you know, I actually let my wife had a bunch of sports cards of like New York players that maybe they'd know. And I gave them to my wife, and I also gave her a bunch of Pokemon cards. And they never go for the sports cards. And I actually put some Ethan Nicks and stuff like that and famous players in there, and they just don't care. They don't know them. They all know Pokemon. Maybe that's part of being a kid, but I just feel like there's so much out there on YouTube of these influencers trying to say how you make money. It's just these kids don't know what it means to have a fun journey in a collection. And pretty soon, us, you know, in our 30s and 40s here, I feel like we're going to be like those dudes at the vintage table, all lined up. And no one's and there's no one young, like, and we're all talking about the old ways and stuff like that. It's just sad to see that there isn't really a lot of examples for the younger generation to see like what it means to collect and why you're having fun having a collection journey rather than making money.
My kids learned the word influencer before they learned the adjective of influencing, you know, and you know, I just think that's just kind of what's happened out there.
We should teach them passion first.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a great point, Tim, because I think sports cards the last 5 years has just been driven towards value. And that's why everything's got to be graded. Everything's got to be a high-end card. Everything's got to be in a case. Where you're right, my kids actually, they don't really much anymore, but for a while, were just collecting Pokemon cards. We could go to the show and half the tables were there, so I could just throw them over there and they'd look through them for a while, and they just collected what was cool, what looked cool. That's what I used to do with sports cards. But nowadays you don't see that with kids. You like you said, you just see the Zion cases, the graded cards. Everything's got to be graded. I walk up with raw cards, and some of these tables, these guys will look at it and be like, "What do you think of grade?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's out of 10. Like, it's a cool card."
Sir,
you like the card? Yeah,
yeah.
Or like they rip it, and it's just like, "Oh, I didn't get a Cooper. Screw this. I'll give it up. Whatever."
Yeah, so it's disappointing, but I do like your point about Pokemon being accessible and kids just collecting it for fun. Hopefully we can get back to that with sports, you know, sports cards.
But I think Mark in the chat brings some good point where he says we're already the old guys, and I mean, I'm not an old parent, but I'm a slightly older parent. Where my youngest is 6. I'm in my mid 40s, and my son, my youngest, is definitely, he's got the collector gene, right? He wants to build Legos and display them with me. He's got cards up on his bookshelf in his bedroom. but he collects what I expose him to, right? So if I was 30 and had a 6-year-old, it would be Pokemon cards. But I'm 45 and have a 6-year-old, and so it's Spider-Man from the 90s, and it's WNBA and NBA. So he has on his bookshelf, he has a Jason Tatum card from the 2024 NBA Finals. He has a 90s Spider-Man hologram card, and he has a Dejanay Carrington card, right? Those are what he's exposed to from pop culture from me. And then he has a binder of Pokemon cards that he trades with his buddies and stuff. But we are already the old people. And if we were 10 years younger, what we're exposing the next generation to is either the gambling side of things and the flipping side of things, are Pokemon and comics and all that other stuff, right? I do think there is a little bit of pro sports and the fandom of pro sports that we grew up with the Sports Center generation is a little bit old guy now, right? So I think there's that part of it too, where it's not all doom and gloom. It's just the generations and the nostalgia are different, right? And I think I see it as, like I said, I mean, some of the dads I hang out with, that if my son's 6, and if their firstborn is also 6, but they might be 32, we just have different interests, and that's fine. But it's going to expose the 10 years these days is a different generation. It's no longer 30 years is a different generation. It's Adam and I get along very, very well. We are a different generation, right? And so it's just, I think like the market just has to react to that. And I just think it's different.
Yeah.
I don't think it's malicious, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, yeah, I do think it's inspiring how you and Ryan, have kind of showed them, kind of shepherded them, the way of, what it means to collect, and they kind of caught that bug. I think that's really nice. And as someone who is hoping to have kids soon, that it's one of those dreams I have, and sharing my passions, and if I'm lucky, maybe they'll like collecting something too. I think that's would be fun to do that together.
Think about it like this too. I mean, yeah, they start with Pokemon, right? When I was 10, I was doing Pokemon, right?
I'm going to show them Pokemon. Yeah.
But 10 years from now, right? My son's interests are going to change. He's going to stop chasing Pokemon. He's going to start chasing other things that are important, right? And right along with those things is being athletic. And being athletic, he's going to get more into sports, and I think that fandom will just reintroduce itself, because it will be a natural progression for him. So I don't push him into it right now. He's a Fortnite fanatic, and he is absolutely digging on that. I still buy him the Hot Wheels that I want to see on his wall, because I know when he leaves, I'm taking those things off the wall and I'm going to take them. Never mind.
Yeah, I really see it as just fostering the collecting gene in him, the creativity gene. And if he ends up going and collecting mini helmets or he's got a coin collection, which I did want to he wants Funko Pops, if he wants minifigs, it doesn't really matter. It's all about, interacting with him more so than, I don't really care if he collects basketball cards.
Here's a great little comment from Mark here. He says, as a dad, it's also hard to push pro sports as much with my kid, especially when there's DraftKings ad every 5 minutes. Agreed. Pokemon and Fortnite actually sound more palatable sometimes, which, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So true.
The gambling side of sports, it's inundated sports, but now it's come over to sports cards. And besides Whatnot and all that kind of stuff, in the Pokemon side, it's really not so embedded with the gambling, with the breaking and, all that kind of stuff. It's still there for sure. I think there's probably been, I was reading something where there's been like millions more Pokemon cards graded by PSA than sports cards, like it dwarfs it now. But there's so much out there that you don't have to have the graded stuff. It's not maybe pushed as hard. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But.
And I think MJ makes a good point. As a dad, it's also hard to push pro sports on a kid. I was thinking about this. My dad loved golf. That was his big thing growing up. And I played with him, but I always thought watching it, if Tiger Woods wasn't hitting the game-winning or the tournament-winning shot, I thought it was so boring, and I called it the dad sport. And I was like, just bored of it. And then my uncle raises a kid who's a little younger than me, and he loves baseball, and my cousin sees baseball as the dad sport. So it's almost like you don't want to push something too much, and then they're like, oh, that's the dad thing that he likes. You know what I mean? So I feel like, I mean, I've never had a kid. A couple of you guys had them. You know, how has that experience been? Does it seem like whatever you show them, they're into, or have they pushed stuff into the that's a dad thing category?
No, I
The
think
only
it's
thing-
organic, and I
It is.
was actually, as you were talking, Tim, thinking about a really cool interaction I had. So I coach my kids' soccer teams, and for reference, it's town soccer. I've never played soccer, but I live in a pretty diverse community, and one of the kids came up to me and he was talking, and he all out of nowhere. So this is kindergarten, first grade kids, and he said, if I do well all my homework this week, you know what my mom's gonna do, Coach? I said, what, buddy? And he goes, my mom's gonna buy me a pack of FIFA World Cup cards, and for him, and I was like, oh, who's your favorite players? And he's of Portuguese descent, right? So he's got a more international, collection base. And he started rattling off all these players. He's like, to get cards of that guy or this guy just like gets me so excited. And I think there's something really organic about, when you let kids find their own lane, right? So I'm the coach. His parents are just on the sideline. I don't know if they ever played soccer. I don't know if they push soccer. He's playing town. He's not doing club. He's not in the camps. He's just with us running in a pack, hoping to kick the ball in the goal. But he's found a love for soccer, and through that, he's excited for the World Cup, and he's asking his parents for World Cup soccer cards. And I know that, it's Panini Select or whatever, but he's just hoping to get a single pack of cards if he does his homework this week. So I don't know that kids aren't looking at it like cool or uncool. I think when you foster kids finding what they like, I think they will still go towards the same thing that we all went to in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, regardless of our age, if it just happens organically and isn't forced down our throats.
Right.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Because I never want to be perceived as, oh, I'm pushing it on him. You know what I mean? Maybe just show him if he's into it or she's into it, then maybe they are, and maybe not. I'll move on to the next thing.
Yep. And I got two kids. One is into it because she wants to hang out with dad, but after that she could kick the binder down the stairs and not give a crap about it. And the other one truly has, and I'll give credit to Kyle from Wax Museum Podcast, the collecting gene. He's got the collecting gene. He collects too much. Yeah. He collects money. He collects coins. He collects gum. He collects gummies. He collects cards.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Legos, but at some point he'll find his lane. So.
When I was a kid, that reminds me, when I was a kid, I'm the youngest of 8. I'm a big old style Irish family. And I'm the youngest. And so I grew up in a house full of hand-me-down everything. And then, once I learned what Dr. Seuss was and Goosebumps was and Boxcar Children and all this stuff, I'm like, wait a minute. We have like 45 of these in the house. What if I take them and put them on the same shelf? Yeah. I started organizing all of our stuff and collecting TV guides and every kind of trading card and coins. I just couldn't get enough of it.
So think about this. They say 80% of the time you spend with your kids happens from the time that they're 0 to 12 years old. So the time that they are 12 years old on, you're only going to get to see them. That's the 20%, right? So if you add up their life to 100%, 80% of that time is from 0 to 12. And that's when you have the opportunity to be the most impactful. So, man, get in there. You tell them how to collect, what to collect. And if they choose not to, they make their choices.
Right. Yeah. Just let them do their thing. That's my kids. The only thing they've ever cared about was, literally the only thing they care about collecting now is Garbage Pail Kids. I did introduce that. I've introduced everything. I'm like,
you must be
sports.
happy.
We got baseball. I'm a sucker for those. But basketball, and with their cousins, they actually trade basketball cards because one of my brother's kids is like actually into basketball. He watches it. My son will watch it occasionally, but they'll trade those. But around the house, it's Garbage Pail Kids.
All right, so I think we've hit a little. The chat's going off about a lot of this kid stuff. So I think this is a fun little. This was not a detour I expected, but I think this was a little fun detour. But we've also gone past the hour mark, and I know people are probably tapping out. Does anybody, Adam, Other Ryan, Tim, anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap this up and sign off?
I do think it would be curious to figure out what we'd have to do to create the I don't know, the environment where people don't look at cards, sports cards, as the flipping culture anymore. So when you do go to shows, like you see a mixture of flipping and collecting with Pokemon, but there is both kids and adults walking around with binders and buying cards that are $1, $5, $10, and having the time of their life. And you almost never see that at any age with sports. Like I don't know what we have to do to change that culture or what they've done to make it what it is, but it's very polarizingly different.
That's such a good point, Adam, because like I know like people that collect Pokemon, like I'm just going to say shiny card because I don't know what Pokemon cards are, but if they go even just a blaster and they get the shiny card, they're excited about it. Whereas we were to go into get a Topps Chrome blaster and get a shiny card, but it's name, random NBA player, we're not excited about it. So you're absolutely Jay Crowder, right? So Jay Crowder is going to be in hoops, right? Nobody's excited about that. You're absolutely right. There is something about the TCG, the Pokemon collectors do seem to enjoy the cards outside of the value more, even though they might be looking at it because this might be an $800 card. So I think that you're absolutely right, and I don't know how to get there, but that would be a good discussion at some point for sure.
When you even see them, there'll be a card that isn't even designed to be popular or sought after, but it has like a unique art style or something, and a base card becomes worth $5 instead of a quarter because of a cool art style or two characters that aren't normally on a card together. Whereas in sports, nobody would ever care.
Nope.
Just interesting.
No, I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. Anybody else have any final thoughts before I sign us off tonight?
All good here.
All right.
I haven't found a VJ Edgecombe bounce house. That's the one I want. I think the colors work nice with the bounce house. I can't wait to see one on eBay. I don't know where it is, and I'm worried about how much it's going to be when it appears.
Just bounce
Reach out
me,
to Tim if you pull
bounce me. Will Smith said it best. All right, with that, I have no response to the bounce house. So appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Future discussions, we're definitely gonna. There'll be an upcoming hangout about hoops. We want to hit on that, but if anybody has any thoughts, comments, concerns, or ideas for us to discuss during a hangout, please reach out. If not, I appreciate everybody joining us live. Everyone be well. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
I got to move my car for my wife.